Hi guys and girls, it's Lok, and I'm back at it again, squatting. Surprise, surprise. I feel like that's gonna be my intro every time now, just surprise, surprise, guess what I'm doing? I'm doing squats. So, it's my first day of deloading, and I don't think the concept of deloading is talked about enough. Now, obviously when you start off as a beginner, for about 6 to 12 months, you probably don't need to deload. You might even be able to stretch it to about 18 months without a deload, and you should be fine. Generally, most people will automatically deload when they go on holiday because they don't train, right? They obviously don't know that they're deloading, but a full deload would entail you not training for a week, or maybe even longer, depending on whether or not you've overtrained, which is very unlikely. Anyways, you're more likely to overreach as opposed to overtrain. We can talk about these concepts later on. But most people do end up taking a deload without realizing that they have, so they don't make it their intention to deload. I remember I was introduced to this concept when I first started powerlifting by Johnny Candido's 6-week program. And I remember there was a 5th week, was it 5th? It was either the 5th or 6th week, sorry, where you take a deload and then you do your 1 rep max. And I remember looking at it and I'm like, why on earth do I need to deload? Because I remember running the cycle once and I was like, dude, I feel awesome. And so I just skipped the deload and went on to week 1 and 2. And I pretty much wanted to kill myself. So that was when I first learned my lesson to deload. However, coming from a more aesthetic oriented training program, usually their deloads are less frequent compared to powerlifters. I remember most programs for bodybuilding tend to only deload maybe every 12 weeks. So that's 3 months of training. That's really little deload. And I think when you gain more experience under the weights, you'll find that certain people will do better with more frequent deloads or less frequent deloads. So personally, I like to deload often. I find that it also helps me with my mental motivation, and I prevent myself from overreaching and fatiguing quickly. Obviously, with good programming, you shouldn't fatigue early anyways. If you follow one with percentages as well as RPEs, you're probably going to do okay. And if you auto-regulate as well, you should do fine. But I started training properly in 2012, and that was the Ziz era. And I remember a couple others like Hodge Twins, Jason Blaha, Chris Jones. Those were the OG fitness influencers, bar Mike Chang, of course. And it was very easy to be, don't forget CT Fletcher. So watching all these influencers, you go, I need to train hard, because most of them train really hard. And it wasn't until, I think it was Johnny Candido, one of the first ones, who trained relatively submaximal. But it was when Jeff Nippard came out. When he started doing a lot of his videos, he advocated a lot of submaximal work. And that's when it started. I think that's when the industry started to educate themselves more about deloading and why it's important to deload and to train relatively submaximally so you prevent overreaching and over fatiguing. And I know other people in the industry have different thoughts on overreaching and overtraining. I'm not going to delve into it. There's a lot of channels you can watch, like Greg Doucette. More Plates, More Dates is great as well. He does more analysis on compounds and whether or not people are on the compounds. I definitely think a lot of these channels are worth checking out. But yeah, I came from the OG era where everyone just trained hard, balls to the walls, pre-workout. I remember Jack 3D. I never actually tried the original formula, but I heard there were some, I don't know, there was some stuff in there that really drove you nuts. But yeah, so this is my first day of deload. As you are following along with the video, I did 4 sets of 6 high bar squats at 85 kilos, so that's 60% of my 1 rep max at a relative intensity of 70%. Same with my bench press, 70% relative intensity, 60% 1 rep max, so 75 kilos 4 by 6. And then I just finished off with some light wide grip cable rows, 4 sets of 10, really get a lat pump. You may be wondering why I didn't do any posterior chain accessories today. Well, it's because my hamstrings were super sore from those 3 sets of Smith Machine RDLs that I did 2 days ago. It's crazy, my hamstrings just get sore every time without fail. even though I do really submaximal accessory work. So yeah, that's my video for today. Like and subscribe, and I'll speak to you in a couple days.